Hello YouTube. I have not been having the best summer so far. I have completed 10 days of antibiotics. Finished that last week. It was not fun. I had stronger side effects than usual. It really demolished my digestive tract, so that was fun. And I was having weird stuff like random heart palpitations, and also I was just extremely fatigued, which often happens when I'm on IV antibiotics. So it really just was not a pleasant 10 days. And then even after it was done, it took a while for me to kind of like recover from everything. And then I have not been sleeping well. So I've continued to be exhausted. I think that part of the reason I'm not sleeping well is that I'm stressing about surgery. I am having sinus surgery tomorrow, actually. We've been talking about sinus surgery for a while. I've had sinus surgery before. One of the fun fringe benefits of CF is that it often comes with terrible sinuses. Most CF fringe benefits are not very beneficial. So terrible sinuses have been part of my life for decades. I've had sinus surgery 4 times before now, mostly in my 20s. Because it doesn't necessarily last. I have issues with polyps, aside from just mucus plugging things up and infections and all that kind of stuff. So the polyps come back and they block things up, and then things get more infected and it just becomes a thing, and then you take them out and then they come back again. So that was my life for a while, for like about 10, 11 years. I just kept every few years going in for sinus surgery, After the last one, I felt like I didn't get that much benefit from it. I didn't feel hugely better, and my symptoms were not terrible enough for me to feel like it was worthwhile to go through surgery again, because surgery is not exactly fun. So I stopped doing it and just kind of like learned to live with the symptoms. Things are different now though, because I'm post-transplant. One of the problems with CF post-transplant is that we got rid of my lungs, which were horribly infected, but we can't get rid of my sinuses, which are also horribly infected. And the infections from the sinuses can very easily get into the lungs and just, cause problems. Post-transplant, I've had repeated lung infections, which thankfully have been much easier to treat now that I have, fresh new lungs that are not a CF disaster zone. But still, it's not desirable to have repeated infections in your post-transplant lungs. So we've been talking about possibly doing sinus surgery to clean things out. The thing that kind of like really pushed me to it was that I lost my sense of smell. I had lost it right after transplant for a few months. Then we changed a couple medications and treatments, and I got it back for a couple months, and then it went away again, and it's pretty much been gone since then. So the doctor did tell me that there's no guarantee that surgery will bring back my sense of smell, because it's possible that those nerves have already been permanently damaged. However, if I don't have surgery, I definitely will never get my sense of smell back, because then those nerves will definitely become permanently damaged and there will be nothing we can do. So between the lung infections and hoping that maybe I have some sense of smell left to preserve, I decided to go for the surgery. So that's what's happening. And then my decision was solidified when I had Pseudomonas and staph recently and was like showing symptoms and increased white blood cell count and had to go on IV antibiotics. So that kind of confirmed for me that surgery was the right decision. At the same time, it's not like an easy decision. On the one hand, it's not that difficult of a surgery. Like I said, I've done it multiple times, but there are always risks. When they're working around your sinuses, they're also working around your brain and your eyes. So there is the possibility for things to go drastically wrong there. And the recovery is just not fun, and it takes a while before you even know how much it helped, because it takes months for everything to really heal up and for the swelling to go down and for you to see how you feel. So it's a little bit hard to make myself go through all that, not even knowing how much benefit I'm actually going to get from it, but I do think it's what I need to do now. I need to at least try and see what happens. But at the same time, it's been just kind of like weighing on me and stressing me out. And we all have enough stress to be going on with anyways, what with this whole global pandemic thing. So between post-transplant life, global pandemic, and now, you know, new medical issues, I've been really stressed and cranky and not feeling so good and just exhausted all the time. So I'm glad that it's finally here, that I'm finally having the surgery tomorrow and can just kind of like get it over with and move on. It's actually kind of ironic because I realized that I'm stressing more about this surgery than I did about my transplant, because the transplant, for one thing, it happened so fast that I really didn't have time to think and stress about it too much. But also I was so sick that I didn't even have it in me to be stressed or to think about what could happen or think about the transplant and how hard it was going to be. My life pre-transplant was such utter hell that I didn't care what happened or what was coming as long as it was not hell anymore. I just needed the misery that I was in at that time to end, and all of my physical and mental energy was going towards just surviving another day at that point. I couldn't look forward and think about what was going on. So I actually didn't really stress about the transplant, ironically. But this one, I'm feeling much better now, and I have much more mental and physical energy, and it's all being dedicated to being stressed about surgery. So that's been fun for everyone. On the plus side, my COVID test today, because of course I had to get another COVID test before going into the ER, not ER, OR, before going into the OR, was so much easier because they changed the way they're doing them at the place where I go. So instead of like shoving that swab up your nose and into your brain, it feels like, instead they just swabbed like the front of my nose and everybody went on their way, and it was so much easier. It would have been nice if they had done that the previous 3 times, but hopefully from here on out, my repeated COVID tests, which I'm going to be getting lots of for every procedure or pulmonary function test or whatever, hopefully it'll be easier from here on out. So that is what's going on around here. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to do another video because I'm going to be all post-surgery recovery misery. And after the surgery, they're going to put me back on IV antibiotics, the same IV antibiotic, for 3 weeks. So I'm sure that's going to be 3 weeks of joy and sunshine and roses, given how much fun 10 days were. So I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to be functional enough to put together a video. But maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll surprise all of us and get it together quickly. If you want to know what's going on, you know, before there's another video, you can check out my blog. The link is in the video description. I usually get stuff up on the blog sooner than I do get videos onto YouTube, just because it's much easier to, you know, type something out and throw it onto the blog. So if you're curious about how surgery went and how recovery is going, check out the blog. You might find some info there before you see it here. All right, that's the story around here. See you next time with clean, shiny sinuses.